Annabelle Creation. I was pretty excited about this movie. It was, it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not usually a big critic person. Ironic, since I'm sitting here trying to be a critic and all. But I'm not usually huge on critics, and that's mostly because 99% of critics are biased against horror. And, that's my favorite genre, obviously. So if I'm not going to usually listen. And I have a group of friends, my horror community friends, um, and I trust them. But outside of that, I don't. But when a horror movie gets 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's definitely like, oh wow, it's interesting at the very least. And so, you know, this, as I said, I think I said this in my Annabelle review, and I reviewed Annabelle recently, that this kind of went in that same direction that Ouija Origin of Evil did, where the first one was a huge success financially, but it was kind of a shit ball with critics and viewers. So they went out and grabbed Mike Flanagan to do Ouija, and it killed it, and it was a great movie. And same thing here. They went and grabbed David Sandberg from Lights Out, and they actually grabbed the same actress for this as they did for Ouija Origin, the young girl who's in that, and she's also excellent in this. She's definitely a talent to look out for. Um, but this was a movie that definitely was not as successful for me personally as Ouija Origin of Evil. I just thought Ouija was fantastic. And this I thought was very good. I didn't think it was excellent. And first off, let me say that this movie is about a doll maker. He has a wife and a child, and he makes Annabelle, obviously, and his daughter ends up dying. Then we flash forward 12 years, and the same man who's living in the same house is taking in 6 orphans from a Catholic orphanage. And when they get there, you know, one of the rooms in the house is forbidden, and one of the main characters is a girl who has been crippled by polio, and so one of her legs doesn't work, and she makes her way around the house at night, and basically Annabelle, or this spirit or the demon, lures her in to let Annabelle out of this locked room, and things go awry from there, obviously. Now, what are the great things about this movie? What makes this movie better than not is, number one, the performances all around are great. I think everyone did a great job. I couldn't tell you one person in the movie that was like, if they would have just taken this guy. No, everyone was good. So that was good. The film looked great, and it had a good style to it. David Sandberg has a good style. I thought Lights Out was fairly generic. I thought he went for a ton of generic kills and a ton of generic scares. But, the thing where this movie lacked is the same thing. I was thinking with Lights Out that it was mostly because he had made that short, and James Wan came and grabbed him and was like, "Hey, I want to produce a feature-length version of this." I don't know, maybe he wanted to do that, but it seemed like it was like, "Hey, turn that short into a full length," and he was kind of like, cornered, like, "Oh shit, okay, I'll make it," and then kind of ran out of steam instantly because it really worked better as a short. Personally, a lot of people loved it, and that's cool. But I feel like, and I thought maybe here having more of a fresh canvas, so to speak, that he wouldn't be so quick to just throw in, um, cliche, overused scares, and things that everyone uses. And unfortunately, he does. He does it a decent amount. There's a lot of like paint by numbers jump scares where you can almost literally count down to the next jump scare because it's so obvious when it's coming. It's like as soon as this, as soon as it goes silent and people go quiet and they look around, and as soon as it pans over here, ah! Now, I'm not big, I don't get scared during movies. I've watched too many over the years. I'm jaded to that, so I'm not really going for the scare factor. But I can always appreciate good scares or, creepy atmospheres or, something like that. And for me, jump scares, they're fine. I mean, they are effective for what they need to get done. Modern day audiences want them. So I don't mind them, but be clever with them. Be new with them. Try new things. Experiment a little. You want to be jumpy? That's fine. I don't mind that. But don't do just such blatantly obvious stuff. Like in the last Annabelle, they actually took a page out of a Mario Bava film, the very last movie ever made, called Shock, where a character runs in frame, out of frame, and then when they come back up, they're a different character, like a different looking thing. So it's very startling. It's very quick. And they do it in Annabelle. And yes, I had seen it before, but I hadn't seen it ever since. And who knows about Shock? Mario Bava's Shock, very few. Only, tight-knit group in the horror community know about that. So it was very cool to see. And that scene doesn't get enough respect. And so that I can appreciate. Even though it is stolen, it's only been used once to my knowledge. And, do something like that. I mean, even if you have to steal a little bit, take it from something that hasn't been used in a billion years at the very minimum. Almost most of the jump scares in this movie are, as I said, paint by numbers, kind of textbook. Is like the jump scare playbook. Now, I don't want that to make it seem like I didn't like the movie or that I don't think it's a good movie. No, I do, because there's a lot of good style, and the story is cool. The performances are good. There is a really cool atmosphere throughout the movie. Really, there's good tension and whatnot. It's just, unfortunately, it does fall into a lot of, explored land, and that's kind of a bummer. Now, this is part of the Conjuring universe, and I know that everyone is kind of getting down on all the companies wanting to do a shared universe ever since Disney's had success with the Avengers, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now DC's wanting to do it, and the Universal monsters with the Dark Universe and blah blah blah. Like, everyone wants to do a shared universe now. I personally like shared universes. I think it's cool because I think what it does is it gives the studio the opportunity to make new stuff, make original material, whilst also giving the public what they want by giving them sequels. Because believe it or not, no matter what anyone tells you, what makes money is sequels, remakes, stuff like that. It does. I mean, look at the box office numbers. And so production guy, the producers are going to be, they're going to be much more quicker to give money towards those properties. And it gives the filmmaker a little bit more leeway in the ability to go in and make something, original. Like if you're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or let's talk about this. I mean, you can go and make Conjuring, and you can make an Annabelle movie, and they're completely different films, but they're in a shared universe, so people will run out because it's part of the Conjuring. So it kind of gives you that ability to be original whilst also giving, the fans what they want with their wallet, because that is what people go out to see. They'll tell you differently, but it's bullshit. Look at the numbers. So I like the shared universe, and in this movie, they give a really great, it ties really well into the first film, which was what I was wondering. Were they going to do that? Were they going to acknowledge the first film at all? And they very much do. And I thought it was a brilliant segue. I thought that they really blended into the first film. I was very surprised at how well that was handled. And they also give a nod to the Nun, which was, who was in Conjuring 2 and is getting her own spin-off movie. So we do get to see the Nun in this. It's quick. But it was there, and it was like, oh, how cool. Like, they're doing that, too. Now, I'd like to say this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but before this movie played, they showed a, 3-4 minute clip of Pennywise talking to Georgie in the storm drain. They actually showed the full scene of Georgie's, boat going down and him talking to him in the sewer, and it was great. Man, I can't wait for that fucking movie. So yeah, I think that this is definitely worth a shot. I think that anyone who it felt more like The Conjuring. It's very much a haunted house movie. The biggest problem, like one of my biggest problems I had with the Annabelle movie and with this movie too, kind of, is that Annabelle is just a conduit. She's not a killer doll. Like, I didn't know what they were going to do when I saw the first Annabelle, but being such a fan of the Child's Play series, and I like killer doll movies, Dolly Dearest, and my friends always give me shit because I like Pinocchio's Revenge, and I'll make a list of more lesser known doll movies that I like. But I don't know, like it being a killer doll movie or evil doll movie or something, her never moving, her never being interactive of any sort. I don't know. It just, for some reason, that just rubs me the wrong way. I want her to like jump up, even though that seems like it'd be silly. Her never doing anything just is like, it's Annabelle. Like, this isn't about the doll. Like, the doll's just kind of secondary to the demon. I mean, it's a demon movie. It's a possession movie. It's not an evil doll movie. So I don't really count this as an evil doll movie, even though technically is, because it's the doll that's bringing it and this and that. It's a demon movie. It's a possession movie. It's something like that. So I don't know. It's not an evil doll movie to me. Maybe people will agree or disagree with me on that, but I wish it was a little, I don't know. I guess it probably looks stupid, but I can't help the way I feel. So I'd check it out. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth going to the theater for sure. So go check it out. All right, guys.